welcome to You're Wrong About Musicals. I'm Esmé,
And I'm Nell.
and today we are going to be talking about Evita. I'm so excited. I love Evita. It's my favorite Lloyd Webber. I think it's very interesting. And yeah. I'm smiling like a maniac right now. It was such a great time talking about Evita. But first, we have some news to get through. Some of it is musical feature relations, some of it is not. Some of it is just stuff that's important to us that everyone needs to know. Okay, let's start with this one. Okay. It was announced today that Evita Lobzada, Ruthie Henshaw, and they're very talented people, and I'm very excited that they're going to cabaret.
Hilarious comment.
Huh?
Okay, Ladies Town UK posted on Instagram.
Okay. Do you want to finish this piece of news? Because I want to go back to TS12.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do enrichment time at my conclusion.
Someone's saying Chapel Roan. Could you imagine? And Ruth Carney.
Yeah.
They're going to Cabaret West End. Ruth Carney is going to be the MC.
Mm-hmm.
We're going.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
I'm good. I've seen Cabaret.
You're going. Even if I have to trick you into it, you're going.
I'm busy then.
No.
I'm busy then. Anywho. TS12. Guys, TS12 might be announced by the time this comes out. I'm grinning from ear to ear. Like, there's been a lot just happening, just like about. I mean, today's been a lot. I mean, it's very hot here, and I went to Camden of my own free will, but it was to see my friend who's about to leave for a year. And then I log on to twitter.com, and TS12 is upon us, and it is orange, and no, it is not karma, as some people are saying, unfortunately. But I needed this. I needed a win. I really needed a win. It's all looking up for me now. This morning I was like, it's so bad. It's so over for me, because also I realized I am having a scary medical procedure done tomorrow. It's for my teeth. It's fine, but I'm scared. So finding out that TS12 might be announced tomorrow, raise my spirits. Whoop. Oh, Hunger Games casting. This is interesting. We haven't actually discussed this one yet.
Yeah, they named the tributes, and
yeah. Because I said to you, I think I don't know whether this on mic or not, where I was like,
I
they
think
going
we
to
did. I remember discussing it on mic. I don't know if it stayed in the episode.
I think if we discussed it on mic, then I don't see a reason for me to cut it. I was like, are they going to name them? Because obviously, like, the one I used was Foxface. I was like, Foxface doesn't have a name in the book or in the movie.
Yeah, I feel like they have, especially with Foxface, I think they've cheated a little bit.
You could have just named her Foxface and we would have known who you meant.
But they've done that. They've just named her Fossa.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Like, that's her name.
Oh.
But I also think, I saw this random tweet that I was like, that makes a very good point, which was saying that, like, not naming them really added to the dehumanization.
Well, yes.
Which I think is, like, way more prevalent in the original trilogy and Sunrise on the Reaping.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Ballad, you kind of know all of the tributes because it's so early on.
Also, like, Snow's a maniac, and so keeping a running list of all.
Yeah.
Like, we also like learn all the mentors' names because Snow's again a maniac.
There's the kind of thing where you like watch the entire Reaping and you know who they are. And also it's like it's this comparison of also assigning them capital like equivalents.
Yeah.
That each of them gets a like pretty much same aged mentor.
Yeah.
And even like Sunrise, I'm not finished with it. But you do still kind of get, a lot more tributes. Obviously, there are more tributes.
You know
a lot more names.
Yeah, you know all of their names. I think, like, at one point, I listened to the audio.
I don't think you do. You don't know some of the, like, careers' names.
I think you do. But there's so many where you're just like, and there's 50 of them. So you're like, I don't know who these people are. I listened to the audiobook, and I was listening to a review of Summers on the Reaping, and someone was like, oh, Suzanne Collins basically... Also, it's her birthday. Shout out Suzanne Collins. I love the fact that you're a Leo. We need some good publicity. She she dumps like a Excel spreadsheet pretty much in the middle of her book, and I was like, does she? With like everyone's names.
Yeah, she does. I can't lie, she does. I remember that she does it as well in Ballad.
Yeah,
That
but
one makes
Ballad, it
sense because
makes
it's like this
sense.
is the list that Snow is
This is
writing.
one, the list that Snow has, and two, Snow's a fucking psychopath. And so it makes sense that you'd have like this list of kids who are gonna get murdered.
Snow's a psychopath, but he is hilarious. Right?
He's such a little shit.
Lovely bit. Yeah. So you get one note of all of their names,
Mm.
which is I find myself staring up at an electronic board that lists all of the tributes. We don't seem to rate last names. That's also dehumanization. You see it become more and more obvious throughout the series if you're reading chronologically.
Yeah.
I think like I've seen people argue both sides of like, should the tributes be named, should they not? And my thought is, in the book, I fully agree that we should not know their names because that adds to the story.
Yeah.
However, if I'm going and I'm buying a program,
That's. Are they ever
it's
get like?
also, I assume, because we're gonna hear a lot more dialogue
Yeah.
from them. Because it's all dialogue.
Yeah. That is the issue with adapting it for the stage is, and the movies are able to go over it just because they're movies. But Katniss's internal monologue is so
Yeah.
necessary, and you have to have a way of communicating that. And I don't know if it makes sense for Katniss to be monologuing all the time.
Like, there's points in the book when she is like hiding in trees, obviously,
Yeah.
and she's overhearing conversations.
Hmm.
And it obviously will depend on how they stage that. But my assumption is they're going to stage it where we see Katniss, we don't see the careers, or the careers are like in the audience somewhere, and we can
Yeah.
hear them. So obviously, the way they are going to do the conversation is by saying their names.
Yeah.
I also think it's only that some of them haven't been named.
Some of them haven't been named, but also like
Also, Fossa is like the
also,
other last remaining tribute.
yeah, she's kind of important.
Like, it would be crazy to do a like 3 hour show without a name.
And like
That like never gets brought
I
up.
doubt Katniss will ever say her name still.
Probably not. She'll probably still call her Foxface.
And like we might not even hear Foxface because again, that's all internal monologue. She might say it to Peter.
Hina.
Peter, the horse is here.
Hina, the fox is here.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where it's a sacrifice you have to make for adapting it to stage,
Well, yeah,
and it's fine.
yeah. I mean, I'm so The more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm like, how the fuck are they gonna do this?
Guys, also you still can't buy those £30 tickets because we haven't yet.
No, next
So
week
you
can.
have to wait. Next week you can.
Anyway. Moving on. The Baker's Wife to have an off-Broadway run. This is a mini Chocolate Factory run, and it will be starring Ariana DeBose. I feel like no one's talking about this. I saw the headline, like when it was rerun on the weekend, and I was like, oh, nice. Don't have many thoughts, feelings, and opinions about that. Unfortunately, I have a lot of thoughts, feelings, and opinions about this. Hamilton, guys, it happened. It turned 10 this last week.
And it's great.
And it's great. But like, because Hamilton's so big, they're not used to like people are like, why is Hamilton? So I saw someone say like, is Hamilton doing all these celebrations because it because it's trending on TikTok? And I was like, no, baby girl, they've been planning for this for like a year. Also, I saw this really interesting tweet being like, people just don't understand the fact that like theatre is supposed to be long term.
Yeah.
Like theatre is built to last. It's one of the oldest art forms, and it's supposed like we're supposed to bring stuff back and think about it in a different way. And like shows don't often run for 10 years, but when they do, it's not insane for us.
Guys, can I just say this is why I think that like the bootleg discourse is weird.
What
Because
round?
you're like, guys, you cannot bootleg a show only ran for one performance ever. It's not fair. If you wanted to see it, buy tickets. It's like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about? with Hamilton, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I get why you don't want, like, why you're against bootlegging it. I think there is no reason to bootleg
I mean,
Hamilton. And in fact, bootlegging Hamilton is impacting other people's experience of seeing it negatively.
that is
You
the
have a pro shop, you have, like, you can now get pretty accessible tickets. You could always get accessible tickets, they were just harder to come
it's
by.
hardest to come by. I never watched a Hamilton bootleg.
Guys, I can't lie, I did watch the Hamilton bootleg that was on Pornhub when that
I
was a
knew it was
thing.
on there. I knew it was on there, but like I never watched
Because
it.
I told you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I knew it was on there because I was like, I'm gonna see it at some point.
That's my thing. I saw it live, and since I saw it live, I've never needed to watch a bootleg. We watched the pro shot when actually recently.
Recently, we watched the pro shot.
Recently, we watched the pro shot,
We had
and
a
we'll be
great
watching it
time.
again soon.
We're watching it again because it's come back to cinemas, but we had a great time watching the Hamilton pro shot.
We did. I can't lie. The last half an hour, we got a bit sidetracked.
What were we on about? Our dead-eyed boy!
Our dead-eyed boy.
Oh, he really didn't want to be there.
He did not.
Oh,
But
bless his soul. It was so funny.
yeah, we got a bit sidetracked. We won't be doing that in cinema.
I remember doing this
We
a
will
lot.
be dressing up. Um, actually, we are looking for a. Yeah, we're gonna start a Patreon.
Mm.
And if you donate enough, you can come and be the third Skylar sister with us when we
Yeah.
go and.
Yeah. It's either that or I drag Toby against his will.
No, Toby would go.
He
If I bought him an
He does
Eliza
not
dress,
like
he would go.
Hamilton.
If I bought him an Eliza dress, he'd go.
He wouldn't wear a dress like that though. He wouldn't. He would be someone else. If we got him like a coat, he would go. He would actually probably ruin
Okay,
the
so
fun of his
he could be like
Alexander.
Hamilton.
He can be Hamilton, yeah.
Oh, you're on a first name basis.
Alexander, my dear friend Alexander Hamilton, like
My
your
friend
dear,
Alex.
oh, your dear friend Cuban revolutionary Che Guevara today.
Is that news? Or is that something I talk
There's layers to that one, guys. There's layers.
at my place of work yesterday? I met Cuban revolutionary Che Guevara.
And then Nell called me and was like, what the fuck?
Before I'd even clocked out of work, I was calling as I don't know if this is news I should share now or like in the episode. I think I might just do it at the end of the news.
Yeah, do it at the end of
very briefly.
the
Anyways, Hamilton, we will be going to see it in the cinema. It's a very big deal. He got a wax figure, that was great.
I need to go to the Lin Manuel Miranda wax figure.
You know, get me some Madame Tussauds right now.
I need to go see that and the psychotic looking Taylor Swift waxworks.
There is honestly a part of me that's like,
should we go to Madame
I
Tussauds?
kind of think they should be doing more for Hamilton.
But it makes me feel my mortality, you know?
Yeah.
I don't like to be reminded of the fact that it's 10.
I was 11 when Hamilton came out.
I know.
You were 10.
I was 10. I was a baby.
Wow.
Well, I was like almost 11.
You've grown up with Hamilton.
Unlike some of you.
Unlike some of you.
Yeah.
Anyways, Hamilton.
Hamilton. Oh my god, we almost share a birthday.
That's so crazy. They should have invited you to the celebrations.
They should have. Lynn, next for Hamilton 20, I expect an invite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. No, Hadestown celebrated its 2000th performance on Broadway, and I had to read a tweet or a TikTok, I cannot remember, of someone being like, why wasn't Lola Tongue there? And I was like, what the fuck would Lola Tongue be at the Hadestown celebration? I was like, oh, okay. She was in it, because I like to forget that when I'm watching This Not Very Time Pretty. Best show ever. Woo! That's all I have to say on Hamilton. Hamilton, Hadestown doing 2000 performance. May it do 2000 more.
Yeah.
God bless it. Guys, what? First off, how do we get an invite for this event? We would love to be there.
Oh, Las Culturistas.
We would love to go to the Last Culturista Awards. We'd be great.
Please.
Move aside, Sidminton. There's a new event I want to go to. Actually, that's a lie. I'd still kill
No, I still want to go to Sidminton.
I don't think it happens anymore, but like if Andy ever decides to bring it back, I want to go. So the Last Culturista Awards happened. Ben Platt did what I can only describe as a truly amazing. I love it so much. Every time I listen to it, I giggle. And that little giggle. Little giggle. to Diet Pepsi, one of the greatest songs ever by Addison Rae. And you could say something I've done far too much this summer is giggle at performances of Diet Pepsi. Sometimes because they're amazing, like Ben Platt, and I love the joke of it. And then sometimes, because randomly, some people, not going to name names, Lana Del Rey, decides that she loves Diet Pepsi so much she has to sing it for everyone at Wembley. Even though we heard Diet Pepsi earlier when she had Alison open. But she was like, I love this song so much. Let me do it twice. And I was like, you know what, gal? You just sung Venice, bitch, so you can do no wrong for me right now. So, yes! Attempt to sing Diet Pepsi, Lana. Attempt. The key word is attempt. Because after going to discover today, I don't think she's a great singer. Anywho, Ethel Cain released a new album. Nell, this is your forte.
It was really good. It was really good.
I'm gonna get mentally prepared to talk about Evita.
I have to talk about something. Well, it is kind of about Evita. I have a lot of thoughts on it. I think it's a lot I think it sets up Preacher's Daughter really well as like a prequel album. But I also think.
So is it a prequel or a sequel to Preacher's Daughter? Prequel. Okay.
Prequel.
Okay.
So there are. So the Cain women, which I told Esmé this earlier. I figured out this week why the Cain women are named like Ethel Senior, Vera, and Ethel Junior. It's because they're Eve, like EVE, Eve, like Adamand. Very smart. Thank you, Hayden. Very smart. But so there's gonna be like 3 installments. The first one was Preacher's Daughter, and then there's, for lack of a better term, Preacher's Wife, which is Vera, and then Preacher's Mother, which is Ethel Senior. What do you repost on Twitter?
It cracked me up.
That's not Taylor.
It cracked me up. Fucking cracked me up, man.
Quite good.
Joni Mitchell. I knew Joni Mitchell on New Heights. I'd watch that. I'm not happy that I'm having to watch New Heights, but TS12, so. Anywho, Evita. I think you'd like to say last words before I start talking for a bit.
I've got nothing.
You can interrupt me if you want to talk about something.
I won't be.
Okay. Evita is a musical with music by Andrew Lloyd Webber and lyrics and a book by Tim Rice. It is based on the life of Eva Perón, who was a very controversial but beloved First Lady of Argentina who died at the age of 33. She still, to this day, has a massive cult of personality, due to the fact that she was born a poor and illegitimate in a small village, went on to become an actress, and then marries Perón, who becomes president of Argentina. She becomes First Lady. Peronism is based on populist policies and the Descomisados, who basically took her in as their own and made her a saint.
Say on Peronism?
Huh?
That's all we'll say on Peronism.
But it's complicated. I do actually know a fair bit about Argentinian history because I genuinely find the life of Eva Perón, the royal woman, very fascinating. Yeah, many people hate her because Peronism and Peron, two different things. His regime became quite authoritarian in nature, but Eva herself created a foundation that helped women and gave them the right to vote. With her being in talks of being the vice president, everyone thought she was going to be vice president. However, she unfortunately died, as I said, at the age of 33. When she died, 2 million people went to go view her body. It would go missing because Perón was ousted because he was unpopular with the military. Yeah. So let's check in with, on that note, let's talk about Tim Rice. There's no smooth transition here. I really tried. In 1973, 19 years after Ava's body went missing, Rice would be running late to a dinner party. He would be in a cab and hear the end of a radio show about Ava, and having collected stamps as a child, he remembered her face from them. In the radio show, they were talking about legends such as James Dean. with Rice thinking if she is cool enough to be in conversation with James Dean, then she is definitely worth looking into. And he was like, this might be a good idea for a musical if she's interesting, because they had done Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and Jesus Christ Superstar. Jesus Christ Superstar was the biggest hit like of all time for them. They thought they were never going to top it. However, Andy was busy. What was he busy doing? Writing By Jeeves, that classic, amazing, well-respected musical.
Mentioned By Jeeves to someone who also likes Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals, and they were like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "You don't know By Jeeves?
You don't know By Jeeves? His musical?
Sorry, it's actually really gonna rain. It's gonna be like black clouds out there.
Jesus.
I'm so excited.
His Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical about P.G. Wodehouse.
Don't know By Jeeves.
Fake fan alert.
Big fan. Unironically, I think if Andy ever like revived By Jeeves, I would have to go.
Because it's like one of those oddities. It doesn't come around every so often.
I would love to be invited.
Yeah, invite us, Andy.
If you revive By Jeeves, can you invite us to like see it?
Jeeves. We're interested. Yeah, he'd be interested in that. Rice had passed on the project, so he's like, I'm not funny enough for this. I'm not funny.
But Andrew Lloyd Webber is.
Andrew Lloyd Webber is fucking hilarious, and I stand by that to this day. I've been reading his memoir for this, guys. This is one of my favorite episodes I've ever actually put together. I get to talk about so many things I love, and I get to research so many things I love. Anywho, so during this time, Peronism's outlawed in Argentina. She's not really known internationally. There's not many sources on her. Again, pre-internet times, you're relying on biographies and TV documentaries. So he gets a copy of the radio show from the BBC and is listening to that, and then he's like, I need to read a book on this woman. The book, that was like the Evita biography of the time, because it was the first one to come out after her death. It came out like 2 months after her death. Is called The Woman and the Whip by Mary Main. It would be one of the first biographies published in English and would be predicated more on myth than fact, with no sources being used in the book. Main herself is kind of biased. She was born to a wealthy English family in Argentina, talking about Evita's life like it was a melodrama. Yeah, with portions of her like hypothesizing that Ava really wanted a title from the Pope. It was researched and released under the name Maria Flores, with the New York Times calling it unpretentious, sensitively written book that all other books by honest writers that will come after it. And then she changed the name when Peronism fell because she was like, it's safe for me to do so. You know in history class how you'd read a source and then every other source would be like, and this source is shit. This is like that for like Ava biographies.
Okay.
Like Maine is classically of the class who hated Ava because she upended their lives, yada yada yada. And so it spells a lot of anti-Peronist ideas and myths about her. Maine would later say about Ava, later on in her life, post-musical and post-knowing what we know now a little bit more. I felt compassion but not sympathy. Ava did evil things, but she wasn't really evil. She lived her life as a fantasy that was her own creation. There would also be a TV documentary that's available on YouTube. I'm gonna include it in the links because it is. You can you're like, yes, this was definitely used to inspire Evita. Like there are. I didn't watch it fully. I had it on the background while I was researching this. Called Queen of Hearts. It perpetuates a Magaldi lie about that being how she got to Buenos Aires. And that's where the idea of having your narrator be a hairdresser came in, because the hairdresser is interviewed and he's like, and Rice is like, someone I can use to get into the life of Ava. Because also one of the reasons why Andy like passed on it was because he was like, Ava Perón's a heartless bitch. I have no way of like getting into her headspace, you know? However, so during this time, Rice would be like, right, that's it. I've just got to go to Argentina. I need to find out more about this woman. So he packs his bag, he goes to Argentina, and he doesn't tell a single person why he's there or who he really is. Because when Jesus Christ Superstar went to Buenos Aires, because I think still to this day they have quite a thriving theatre scene. Like every so often I'll just see clips of shows in Buenos Aires and I'm like, good for you. It's like one of the biggest, largest cities in the world, makes sense. Religious extremists had actually bombed the theatre where Jesus Christ Superstar was playing. So Rice was like, I don't want people knowing that I'm now writing a musical about one of their historical figures who they love or hate, you know?
Yeah.
But like there was just a lot of infighting in Argentina. This was famously when Ava's body was starting to be found. Perón's gonna come back in. There's gonna be people having left and right wing Peronists. They're gonna start gunning each other down at airports. Fascinating stuff, by the way. So By Jeeves fails. This episode's all over the place, but this is genuinely what happened. One moment I'm talking about like the history of Argentina, the next minute I'm like, and then Andrew Lloyd Webber did this. Um, By Jeeves fails. Andrew Lloyd Webber calls Rice and is like, "Do you still want to work with me? I'm a failure." Um, and Rice is like, "I'm obsessed with Eva Perón now. I've named my child Ava after her. We're doing Evita." And he's like, "Okay." And he takes another look at it. And he is inspired by the current political landscape within the UK. Because 1975 was a bad year for the UK. I believe I've read somewhere that we had two general elections because there was a hung parliament, there was a coal issue, yada yada yada. And so the Evita chapter of his memoir starts with him talking about government spending, which is not something I ever expected to hear Andrew Webber talk to me about. I'm gonna be real.
Really?
Yeah, I'll pull it up actually.
That's one of the things I like really expect him to talk about.
Really? Because it was just like he was using a lot of words I hear in my lectures all the time, or heard in my lectures all the time, and so I was like, what the fuck? Andy? Come on now. Um, yeah, it was around this time when Andy was finally on board that Rice would be like, he will come across a very important piece of information for Evita. Che Guevara was Argentine. He found that out. And there was only 10 years between them saying about the connection between these two people. Hang on, Che would be much more interesting than some unknown hairdresser. That way I could get two icons for the price of one. So, the one fact that they're both really proud of finding out, and they both talk about this in many, many places, is Che Guevara had applied for a patent for a pesticide. He had to give this up due to his asthma. But, according to Andy, in our mosque, he hypothesizes, what if the Peronist government had rejected his patent? That caused him to be anti-Peronist and anti-capitalist. Causing them to create the line in The Often Cut Lady's Got Potential. Now my insecticide contains no more dangerous drugs. It can't harm humans, but it's certain for bugs that's got 6 legs. Yeah, I ain't doing no favor. I'm so sad that line's been cut. So, Che Guevara, born in Argentina as Ernesto, with Che being slang for friend. That's used in Argentina and Uruguay. It means friend, mate, and man. So, man with people, Che, that's how we got the nickname Che. And it's kind of how they're able to get out. That's why in the program today, Che just listed as Che.
Because he's technically not Che Guevara.
He's technically not Che Guevara anymore. He's just friend.
But kind of how many other Che's do you know?
There's only one, really, if you're talking about Argentina history as well, and anti-capitalist sentiment. However, like Che, obviously very not involved in the Peronismo, which was their party. He would never follow the group, and when Ava passed away in 1952, Guevara was already on his way to Cuba. So Andy was in Bristol. Where else would he be? I was actually shocked to learn this. I was like, can we get a plaque to where this happened? This feels historic, and I need to go to that when I'm next in Bristol. And he was in Bristol thinking about Jeeves, humming how Jeeves was happening. It had failed, and he was upset, and he was in a pub in Bristol. He was humming, "How do you solve a problem like Evita?" Since she was really unlikable. And then suddenly he had a thought. He thought about the time that he had seen one of Judy Garland's last performances at the Palladium. After coming on late and attempting to sing the trolley song, she would motion to play Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and it was like the song was eating her alive and taking its revenge. She was being crushed by the song and the audience. He thought that if he could create a song that would be like his speech, that would somehow turn on her, with him taking inspiration from the last broadcast, like that she ever did, coming back to buy her at the end, with like the message being like, "Don't cry for me, Argentina." Rice liked it. They were in a good mood. They worked well during this process at the moment, with it being a high point of their relationship, according to Andy. So they were like, "We need to make a concept album." That's always worked. That worked for us so well with Jesus Christ Superstar. I realized I cannot shorten the name of Jesus Christ Superstar. To test out the waters, David Land would come be their agent and would be like, "This is a hard sell, guys. It's a strange story." So they were like, "Let's just do what we did before." And Evita would have its official premiere, first ever time, at the very first Sydmonton Festival. Historic. In the summer of 1976, which was the first time that the festival would happen. They kind of had to shop it around a bit because everyone was like, "What the fuck is this, you idiots?" But it would eventually make its way to MCA. During this time, Hal Prince, legend, and it's really interesting the way Lloyd Webber writes about him, because like he's very much like, he will never say a bad word about Hal Prince, and nor should he. Hal Prince is one of the best things to ever happen to that man and his works. So Hal Prince would reach out to Lloyd Webber and be like, like, "I know Baiji's failed, but keep going. Keep going." And so he would be like, "I'm gonna send him the concept album of Evita and not tell Rice." And with Andy saying, "That was game changing for me. Without that, I often wonder where I would be." You'd love to hear it. So they would assemble the cast for the concept album. It would feature Julie Covington as Ava, Paul Jones as Perone, Com Wilkinson as Cuban Revolutionary Che, Tony Christie as Magaldi, and Barbara Dickinson as the Mistress. They at one point were like, "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" is not a good name. We're going to call it It's Only Your Lover Returning. Guys, I'm so glad you settled on "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." But however, Julie Covington is a bit of a diva and did not do what they wanted her to. No. Julie Covington was kind of like, "I'll do this because it's weird," and then didn't want to do the stage show because she was like, "This will ruin my life and my voice if I do this. So peace out, bitches." She didn't think "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" made sense. There would be significant issues with like the actual physical creation of the vinyl because of all of like the percussion and the electric guitar. And Andy and Rice would massively fall out over this. However, and both of them talk about this all the time. The summer that they made the Evita concept album, it was apparently the hottest summer in living memory for them. And the day that it finished, it rained, and they were like, "Oh, it's like a sign from God." During this time, Andrew is still in cahoots with Hal Prince. He would go visit him on holiday in Mallorca. They would go out for dinner and listen to the recording. And then he'd be like, "Hal Prince, pretend like I just sent you the recording, please. Thank you." Hal Prince would listen to it, and since in the 70s, Hal was best known for the concept musical that is genuinely considered by the majority as critics as the most progressive and groundbreaking, almost avant-garde of musical theatre. Hal would listen to it and say, "I had to direct it. After I heard the score, Andrew returned to London and I wrote about a 3,000 word letter to him, to Tim and him, with suggestions of cuts. There was a third character in the musical to triangulate the relationships, Che, who I took to be Che Guevara. I asked them to exercise a number which dealt. I asked them to get rid of the insecticide salesman plot. Um, I thought it was a red herring and odd. He would say, and he would also be like, I know how to do this. I'm going to use screens. It's going to be a bit like a cinema at the start. We're going to use screens. And he was like, I'm going to do it as Brachtian tale. Bracht is calling my name for this. Um, yeah, so there's a bit of a miscommunication here. How Prince doesn't know that the album that he was listening to is going to be widely released. He doesn't know about that. And they forgot to tell him. Um, and how we're going to say they dealt in size and story with dealt inside. The scores dealt inside, but the story was interesting. The feeling of fate was missing from the second act. There was no confrontation about the fall of the Perones, with the first act being the best part of the musical, with Che, um, with him being British. So the concept album would be released in November of 1976, with peaking at number 2 on the charts and going gold in the process. It would be marketed as an opera, which outraged opera people, because of course it did. Don't Cry For Me Argentina would reach number 1 on the UK singles chart, spending 15 weeks in the charts. It would be a slow-burning hit, culminating in the performance on Top of the Pops, with Julie Covington becoming disenchanted with the whole thing, refusing to promote the single or appear on Top of the Pops. And Top of the Pops used to be like the massive, big deal. Uh, okay, this is funny. Don't Cry For Me Argentina would reach number 1 on the disco charts because DJs would play it to tell people to go home. Like, you want to clear the dance floor, whack on some Don't Cry For Me Argentina. And let me just say that won't work on me. Um, It would win the Ivor Novello Award in 1977 for Best Song Musically and Lyrically. Another Suitcase in Another Hall, Nell's favorite song, um, would be a hit, with it peaking at 18 in the charts and staying in the top 100 for 7 weeks. Later, Oh What a Circus would peak at number 3, staying in the charts for 11 weeks. People at the E&O English National Opera were like, oh, we kind of want this. Like, we kind of want this. And then some people were like, let's actually not make it a stage show. Let's make it a movie, with Alan Parker inquiring about it. Robert Stigwood, who is now a movie producer, he did Grease, as we talked about last week, would then be like, I don't want to make this a movie. It's not a movie. You guys can't do the movie of it. And oh, another big thing. How Prince obviously did Cabaret originally. Andy was he was kind of obsessed with Cabaret around this time. He was like, I really fucking love Cabaret. It was amazing. I need to work with that guy. Um, um, so Andy wanted Hal Prince to be a producer on the musical, since Hal was a producer on West Side Story, Cabaret, and Fiddler on the Roof. Stigwood did not budge on this matter. And he just kept waiting. Andy and Tim Rice almost got into a physical fight over this. Hal Prince would finally be asked if he wanted to direct it formally, when him saying a year later, after the initial meetings, a receptionist in my office buzzed me to say that there were 2 gentlemen in the waiting room who had come bearing a gift that would like to see me. I stepped out of my office to see Andrew and Tim holding a copy of their record. Handsome white shells sit inside 6 pages on paper tie of slick paper of time lyrics. Their concept album entitled Evita. That morning we became a team. However, I had scheduling conflict, directing On the 20th Century. I couldn't start working on Evita for 6 months. It took a year and a half to get the show ready. So, big hit, Evita concept album, big hit in London. Not a hit in America. Like when they premiered it at the Paris Theatre, people would be laughing at them. Uh, so no one wants to cop to this, but all of them think that this is their idea, but also they're like, and then this was this person's idea. And they've all written books about it and all talked extensively about it, and I can't work out who's lying or who's not. I'm gonna say all of them are lying, and I'm gonna say all of them are also being true here. Um, about the Che Guevara character and like how much Che Guevara is he. So, um, yeah, um, but Hal's Prince's vision is like, he like because it was just on the dams. There was no stage directions, no nothing really, and so he would create the script of the musical using locations and lyrics for the number. He dictated scenes to his assistants, adding a brief description of what contained, taking ideas of the script from the political review with a minimalist set and a film screen. Take that, Jamie Lloyd haters! Hal Prince did it first. Designers would be bored at that point because Hal Prince likes to work quite intensely with them. However, the only West End theatre available would be the Prince Edward, with it not being a desirable theatre since it is tucked away behind the Palace Theatre and had never had a hit. However, it had been a cinema from 1954, after the failure of a musical called Wish You Were Here, which had a pool on stage. Kind of need to see that. Evita would reopen the theatre under the name of the Prince Edward. Um, this would be considered a plus for Hal because obviously cinemas, screens. Um, Andy called the staging an RSC black box with a minimalist set, including a door frame for revolving doors for good night and thank you. All of the scenery was monochrome. As the opening was a black and white movie, the only color that came was from the costumes and the huge murals on either side of the proscenium. Hal Prince originally wanted there to be three Avas. Um, Andy and Cameron, not Andy and Cameron weren't about at this point. I think they were still beefing. Andy and Rice were like, nah, or one Ava. They would ask Julie Covington if she would do it. She didn't think it was cool enough for her, so they set out to find their Evita. And they would audition every woman in musical theatre. Andy's father had a lot of impact in the casting process. He wanted someone he found attractive for some reason. So it came down to three women, one of which Andy is like, I cannot remember her name in her memoir, and he keeps saying it. It's like, just don't write about it. Skirt around the issue. And Elaine Page, who was established in the West End but had never had a starring role. Her biggest role being in a musical called Billy. They would have them go through a very long casting process, culminating in the women singing for Andy and Rice in Belgravia. A few days later, Elaine Page would get the part. With her being like, I'm actually not going to do musicals, and her agent's like, you need to fucking do Evita. Do Evita. With Hal Prince saying about her, Elaine has had and still has one of the best voices in British theatre. She's a tiny woman, but as Ava, she cast a towering shadow, all grit and determination, and ultimately glamour. Carl Wilkinson would not be asked back since he could not cut it with Hal. They would then ask David Essex, an ex-musical theatre star, who then became like a local British rock god. Not my words. Andrew Lloyd Webber's. This is a massive deal in the press. Everyone loved the Evita concept album. It is very entrenched in British culture, still to this day. A lot of people of a certain age have memories of that album. And so it was a massive deal in the press. Elaine's life kind of changed overnight, being followed in by the paparazzi. They would have 9 previews. However, there'd be many members of the press outside the stage door, with tabloid gossip columnists being the writing about it in papers before the official opening. And because we don't really archive our musical theatre reviews as well as New York does with like the New York Times. I have only found quotes from a American source. So I found um the Telegraph for Rice and Webber hardly unhappily compromised their packaged smash hit. Francis King would say, "It's a pity that Webber and Rice couldn't decide whether the bar girl who became Argentina's political saint was a corrupt, scheming bitch or a misunderstood woman who is genuinely concerned with the underprivileged in her community." The Sunday Times would say, "As a piece of stagecraft, uh, no stage art, this is one of the very best musicals London has seen in hit years." The Mail would say, "History is being made. London has never seen anything like it, and it was actually born here." Because Evita's kind of like a proto mega musical in a lot of ways. Like it's not a mega musical, but it nudges us in the right direction of one, if that makes sense. Um, at the Olivier Awards, it had been nominated for Director of the Year for Harold Prince, Performance of the Year for Elaine Page and David Essex, and Musical of the Year. It would win Musical of the Year and Best Performance of the Year for Elaine Page. So when it came time for the Broadway transfers, Rice and Andy would believe Elaine Page basically had the role. David and same with David Essex, with the casting being considered formality. However, according to Andy, Elaine Page and Rice would have an affair, and he keeps like hinting at it because I don't think he wants to say it, but he really wants to talk about it in his book. Um, However, Prince wanted Americans for the roles, and Robert Stigwood wanted homegrown talents in America since the concept album for Evita was not known in America as it was in the UK. Ultimately, the decision would be made by Equity not to take the British leads because this is like, again, not much musical theatre originated in England at this point. Like, okay, if Evita's not the first mega musical, it is the start of the British invasion.
Rule Britannia.
Rule Britannia. And so they never really had to fight with Equity before. Like Andy had learned that if you don't cast this person, I'm not bringing my show then. Trick, yeah.
They don't know I know this trick.
They don't
If
know
you don't let me cast my British star, I'll literally kill myself. I'll kill myself.
Andy when it came time for Phantom.
If you don't let me bring my girlfriend, I'll kill myself. I'll
You know,
literally
let
kill
me bring
myself.
my wife, also named Sarah. I will kill myself.
My wife Sarah. No, not
No,
that
not
wife.
that one. Not that one.
Next Sarah.
The other Sarah. It was weird reading his biography, and every time he mentioned Sarah, I'd be like, Brightman? Oh, no, other Sarah.
No, he calls Sarah Brightman Sarah B.
Yeah, but like I was reading it and I was like Sarah, I was like Brightman, and I was like, no, this is the other one.
You get. I assume you have because you got to see Evita bit, but I know you skipped a bit.
I did skip a
Did
lot
you
of it.
listen to the bit where he's like, I went to go pick my soon-to-be wife up from her O-level results.
No,
From her O-level results
I did not read
of
that part.
GCSEs. He's like, I was a 23-year-old man. I was writing musicals. My girlfriend, 16 years old at the time.
No, but I did read the chapter about her diabetes diagnosis, which was quite sad. Um,
The thing is, he obviously he very much did care about his first wife. Not to
I
get too
did.
Andrew Lloyd Webber-Laurie, but
But
okay,
like, it's the
podcast.
Evita episode. If we can't talk about this here, then when can we? And he's made it our business by writing it in a book.
Hmm. No, but he very much did care about his first wife. It's just
Oh yeah.
cared about Sarah Brightman more, I reckon.
Yeah, sorry. Something almost spelled. Um, yeah,
Can't even lie. If I was given the opportunity to date Sarah Brightman, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Even now, I would.
Why is it whenever we talk about Angela Derbyshire, my dogs start acting up?
They're trying to warn you.
They're like, don't talk about Andy.
They're
Um,
like, I know that bitch Mojito.
me and Mojito have beef.
Me and Mojito are from the same breeder.
Oh God,
Where's Mojito from?
I don't know what Mojito. I don't know what breed we are. Mojito stampede. Yeah, so they wanted to have a soft American landing with them doing a run at the LA Civic Light Opera. There would be a bit of a casting circus with many actresses putting their name in to play the part, being Meryl Streep,
Could you imagine?
Anne Margaret, and Liza Minnelli. So big Hollywood stars. I need to hear Meryl Streep attempt to sing that score. Like I love Meryl Streep, but like
Yeah, it's alright. I'm still on the mojito thing.
not about trust.
Can I just say, Andrew Lloyd Webber official account on Instagram shares a photo of mojito
Mm.
in like in a box at Drury Lane. And one of the comments on it is cute dog, but struggle to get owner trained assistant dogs in places like this. Yeah, a pet seems to be allowed. He owns the theatre.
Mojito's
Like
not
this is not some
watching.
random dog. This is Mojito.
Mojito's also not watching the show.
Yeah, like you're. I'm looking at the picture. There's not a single other person in here.
This is the bit, right?
Like it is. It's Mojito in an empty theatre.
Yeah, this is a bit.
Like I promise you.
You're an adult, you should know that.
Like come on.
Anyway. Um,
Sorry, I love Mojito.
however, the part of Evita would go to then unknown. We've not heard from her since, really.
No, she's done not much since.
Lapone. She would state that the audition process was so long, despite having only been two auditions compared to Elaine's six. However, it would be like a circus in the press. They would also cast unknown Mandy Patinkin. The first performances in LA, Margaret Thatcher would become elected as Prime Minister of the UK. This is massive for Andrew Lloyd Webber. Best day of his life.
Sorry, do you know how hard it is to find a picture of Andrew Lloyd Webber's cats?
That's insane. He's made a whole brand out of being a cat guy.
Yeah, but obviously when you search Andrew Lloyd Webber cats, guess what comes up?
Yeah.
Even when I do pet cats, I'm just getting pictures of Taylor Swift as a weird human cat.
Yay! Taylor, Taylor, Taylor. My dog's left.
And Mojito just keeps coming up. I'm not looking for Mojito. I'm looking for his pet cats.
They would record the Broadway cast recording in LA while Patti LuPone was sick and Andy was pissed because Sarah was about to give birth. And that's a fair point. You want to be there for your pregnant wife. And I can't blame that. They would then play San Francisco at the Orpheum Theatre where Patti LuPone would claim she was being haunted by Ava. They would open at the Broadway Theatre on the 25th of September after 17 previews. The New York Times, by Walter Kerr, would say he starts talking about the plot, then saying, and now we are told rather than shown. If we begin, however, to feel remotely something close to this no hold barred opportunist, it is as she crumples into the floor, insisting that half the power is hers. The contest between the approaching death and the stubborn will starts a faint twinge in us. I think it has been acted and fought harshly before our eyes. The use of Che Guevara seems to be, for the purpose, seems to me approximately as an opportunist of Evita's own manipulations, like as the show, not the person. Not because factually he wasn't there at the time and had nothing to do with the Perones, but because he is often employed to make certain we don't go developing a crush on Evita ourselves. The last possibility seems the most unlikely.
Failed.
Huh?
Failed.
Well, what if Jamie Lloyd's gonna come along and be like, what if Ava and Che want to fuck?
No, I was gonna say this for our thoughts, but at multiple points, like both in the interval and after the show, Esmé was like, and at this point in the show, did you see what was happening with like Perone or Che or like this and like his acting? And I was like, girl, Rachel Zegler was in a bra and shorts and she did not leave that stage. I don't know what the plot of Evita is.
You do, because
like
the synopsis.
I'm no better than a man. I did read the Wikipedia synopsis before the show started.
And when I go tomorrow under local anaesthetic with my very vibally Austrian aunt, she's not like she wasn't born in Austria, she's just vibally Austrian, she lives there now. I'm gonna make her read a plot synopsis.
I feel like I possibly could have gotten it without the plot synopsis.
I mean, I'll talk about the softening of Ava in subsequent Evita productions because I have so many thoughts and feelings. Um, yeah, but this production is very much like Ava is a bitch, and you will know that by the end of the show. Approach to her. The last possibility seems unlikely in this case, given what we know about Ava Perón before entering the theatre. It is one accentuated by actress Patti LuPone's leering tongue, firmly set jaw, and that ice water that runs through her veins. Miss LuPone sings the role well, and moves with a snake-like vitality. But just to make doubtfully sure, her incorrelator, Che, vigorously managed by Mandy Patinkin, is steady available to sneer. The effect is we are kept. The effect, in effect, this keeps us permanently outside the action, unable to decipher Evita's complexities ourselves. We ask ourselves, in vain, how dubious and remote heroine managed to get close enough to Perone to work her will on him. What it was that what she did to endure herself to the gullible population. Because these vital scenes are simply absent. There are no conclusions, no judgments we can achieve on our own. It's all been handed down, hammered down from the outset. We are not participants. We are recipients of postal cards and photographs from all over, which is left a chilly left-handed way to write a character musical. The evening is not boring, though Rice Webber's score sometimes provokes the sounds of Max Shetlinger has arranged it for Carmen Miranda. There are waltzes, polkas, and freshening marches to keep us alert for those tricky tempo shifts. Lyrics, however, lack the odd and very human perceptions often distinguished Jesus Christ Superstar. The thunder of the open-throat choruses at the Broadway is massive enough that possibly you might hear it in Argentina. If your curiosity stays alive at Evita, in spite of all of the undramatized hearsay, that isn't going to satisfy it's due to the authoritative crackle of the ringmaster prince's whip. Listen, the whip, you listen. And to go home wondering why the authors chose to write a musical about the materials they were developing so remotely, so thinly. However, due to these, the reviews didn't really matter because it had 2 million in advance ticket sales before opening, and it would be nominated for 11 Tony Awards, being Best Actress for Patti LuPone, Best Actor in a Featured Role for Mandy Patinkin and Bob Gutton, Best Book, Best Choreography, Best Director, Best Lighting Designer, Best Original Score, and Best Musical. It would win Best Actress for Patti LuPone, Best Actor in a Featured Role for Mandy Patinkin, Best Book, Best Director, Best Lighting Designer, Best Original Score, and Best Musical. It would run for 4 years on Broadway, starting the Lloyd Webber streak, which was ended by Bad Cinderella.
Cinderella! Cinderella is the catty name that they call me.
And it, okay, belting wasn't really a thing on Broadway until Evita. For years, they talked about doing a movie with many A-listers once auditioning for Ava coming back to audition, or being attached to the movie in one play, which was directed by Alan Parker. It would have so many different directors at a certain point. That's a whole other episode if I really cared to get into it, which I really don't. I don't really like the movie. I don't think Madonna can sing it. I do think Patti LuPone should let it go about Madonna. Yeah. But anyway, there were talks with Diane Keaton, Madonna, Elaine Page, Barbra Streisand, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Meryl Streep. You know how close Meryl Streep got to playing Evita? It would annoy you to find out how close Meryl Streep got to playing Evita.
How close?
She recorded demos and was signed onto it, and it was announced.
Christ.
It would ultimately go to Madonna, with Che being played by Antonio Banderas and Perón being played by Jonathan Pryce, who can never seem to play someone of the same race as him. And he got the role off of playing the engineer. So they would be able to film the movie in Argentina, which is kind of massive, considering the Peróns at one point were outlawed. However, they did kind of have to be nicer to Evita in the musical, in the film, if they wanted to film the movie there. Which is fair enough trade. However, people would not be happy about this, with there being graffiti around saying "Piss off, Madonna," obviously in Spanish, um, being signed to the comisarios of the Peronista. They would get special permission to film on the Casa Rosada, with the president saying no until 3 days before the shoot. The Ladies Got Potential would find its way back into the film with rewritten lyrics, and Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice would make their first song together in years, called You Must Love Me. And it would go on to win them an Oscar. So, guys, that's kind of crazy because it would be like if Beautiful Ghost by Taylor Swift won an Oscar. Anyway, in 2009, nines and sixes, they're the same to me. There would be a West End revival directed by Michael Grandridge, saying he considered it to be one of the greatest musicals of the 20th century, relishing in the opportunity to give the show a new look. Andrew Lloyd Webber would say at the time that he was happy to reorchestrate. Stay the F away from those orchestrations, Andy. I have so many strong feelings about the Evita orchestrations, and I have never had a place to put them until today. Since it was the pinnacle of his collaboration with Tim Rice, this would be the first time that You Must Love Me would be added in to the show. It fits quite nicely. Could you tell, when you were watching Evita, could you tell that You Must Love Me was written like 20 years later?
Little bit.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I think that the Jamie Lloyd production is such a kind of experience.
Yeah, it's a fever dream.
Yeah, that it's kind of everything feels a little bit weird.
Yeah.
And also there was another song in the show that I thought felt a little bit more out of place, like in the context.
Okay. Two of them, which one felt more out of place?
Another Suitcase in Another Hall. Okay. Like fully.
Yeah.
Guys, Esmé keeps implying that I don't like the song.
No, you don't.
I love the song. I think the song is actually really good. It's one of the ones I listen to the most.
Yeah.
Outside, like
go on. If you had Nell on earbuds, you would see that she doesn't turn up
actually
any of the Evita
really
soundtrack.
Listen to it.
Like she doesn't turn up any of the Evita soundtrack. She's listening to Another Suitcase in Another Hall. Nell just has more opinions on it than anyone I've ever met in my whole entire life.
I just think it's a strange song for the show.
Okay, you get to talk about it.
I can't wait. I have a lot of opinions on it.
That's fair. I have a lot of opinions about a lot of random things about Evita as well. Also, Elena Roger would be playing Eva, which would be the first time it would be played by an Argentinian woman, which I think would be I would love to see her portrayal as Eva, because I'm sure it is fascinating and brings something very interesting to the role, having more of an understanding of who she is as a lived experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like culturally. The Guardian would say about it, do justice to Ava's story would require a first-rate dramatist, but Rice's lyrics, even though verbally nimble, never give us enough information and seem torn between contradictory attitudes. Admiration for Ava's starry glamour and dismay and democracy and the crypto-fascism of which she has a part. Lacking any coherent idea, the show is a moated succession of Lloyd Webber songs. Another Suitcase in Another Hall here is poignantly delivered. Oh, What a Circus, Flying High Adored, and all the rest. They seem to be Lloyd Webber's best and may have been enhanced by new orchestrations. Don't lie to yourself. Filled with tango textures. But the musical was more than the score, has no real attempt to explore Ava's inner life, only token gestures towards the economic mayhem caused in Perón's political tyranny. The show is a great vehicle, and the Argentinian Elena Roger rides in this modest triumph. It would be nominated for Outstanding Musical Production, Best Actress in a Musical for Elena Roger, and Best Actor in a Musical for Philip Cost, and Best Theatre and Best Choreographer. This production would transfer to Broadway 6 years later at the Marquis Theatre, with Elena Roger coming back, and Ricky Martin would play Che.
Why not?
Sure. What the hell? The New York Times Ben Brantley would say, this just in, Ava Perón, still dead. Thanks for the reminder, Ben.
That's quite good.
I did chuckle. As it did when it was first staged on Broadway in 1979, the Bio operetta begins and ends with the funeral of the title character. But unlike the early incarnation of this version by Michael Grindred, I cannot say his name anymore, never seems to whip up any human life in the intervening 2 hours sung through flashbacks, despite any of the hard work of its spirited leading lady, Argentine actress Elena Roger, and supported by barely there Ricky Martin and his searing Michael Savras. Thank you. The musical contribution of the history pageant and the Requiem mass feels about the warm-bodied is a gilded mummy. The glacial temperatures may shock theatregoers who saw Evita 3 decades ago, though critics weren't much impressed with the show then, audience found their way to it, partly because of Harold Prince adrenaline-pumping Brecht meets Broadway staging. But anyone can anyone advise me how to expel from my brain the jingle like refrain, I want to be a part of BA, Buenos Aires, Big Apple? The show's ads,
That's true. That was stuck in my head for ages.
I think about it all the time, and the little move she does whenever it's played.
I want to be a part of BA, Buenos Aires, Big
Big
Apple.
Apple. Oh, I love it. The show adds borrowing from Rice's lyrics, that she um have that have it that the truth is she never left you. Um, no, the notes she sings are lying dormant like a virus, waiting to infect our systems all over again. Interesting review there, Ben Brantley. I don't know. Maybe it's because Jesse Green is so often on his own was so often on his own planet. I find myself missing Ben Brantley every so often.
Yeah.
Um, it'd been nominated for Best Actor in a Featured Role in a Musical for Michael Savras, Best Choreographer, and Best Revival. It would then come back for limited runs of on the West End of the touring productions between there were two between 2006 and 2019, and they were very much of the same ilk, very much like Museum Piece of Evita. We're going to do it very literally, which I think is wrong. I think Evita in Nature is supposed to be a bit meta.
Yeah.
I would personally find a classically staged Evita very boring. I would love to see How Princess production. If anyone wants to remount that, then take my money. Yes, take it. Um, okay, it's time to talk about one of my favorite things. I'm so excited. Okay, so in 2018, Lana Del Rey would do a cover of You Must Love Me for Unmasked Andy's 70th birthday celebration. I love the fact that he made such a big deal out of his birthday that he roped Lana Del Rey into it. Brings me joy. Um, Beyonce's also on that album, but it's a live recording from when they performed at the Oscars together. And you know what? Fair enough. Okay. So I found a quote from Lana talking about the song. I don't know if I can do a Lana Del Rey impression because every time I hear her speak, I'm like, is that how she speaks? Okay. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Thanks, Lana. And at the moment, she has a weird Southern accent, and it's like, girl, you're from New York. You reference it in your music quite a lot. You're from Lake Placid, New York. You're not from the South. And anyway, not the time for me to get into Lana Del Rey. Actually, it so is the time for me to talk about Lana Del Rey. She being a Lana Del Rey fan is one of the biggest sources of angst in my life. Like, if my life would be so much easier if I didn't think she was one of the greatest songwriters alive, but unfortunately she is. So I have to pay attention when she is live streaming from the John Wayne Museum in Indiana. That happened this week. Where's the goddamn album? Release it. I want to listen to the song about burning down a man's house. Please. I know I heard it live, but I couldn't understand what you were saying because you sang like that. Anyway. Um Also, there's this great photo of Andrew Lloyd Webber and Lana Del Rey together at the Oscars. And the two of them have a very similar issue of never looking like they're in the same room as a person they're taking a photo with. So it's kind of amazing that they both manage to look like they're in the same room as each other. You know how sometimes you just look at photos of Andrew Lloyd Webber and you're just like, you're photoshopped in there, man. You're not there.
Yeah.
Similar experience with Alana. What should I say about the song? Andrew Lloyd Webber has been one of my primary inspirations. Girl, how many primary inspirations do you have?
Andrew Lloyd Webber up there with Jeff Buckley in many ways.
Fuck's sakes. So to do a cover of one of his songs is a dream. I especially love this song because of how unique the melody is. I've been incredibly inspired by all of Andrew's work, from The Phantom of the Opera to Evita. Lana, tell me your hot take on By Jeeves.
Lana, thoughts on Baiju's. Lana, thoughts on Love Never Dies.
Lana, give me your thoughts on Love Never Dies. Meow. Please. I know you're literally doing nothing but scrolling Instagram at the moment. So can you please get on that? And let me just explain to you, if you don't know Lana Del Rey, she is known for being lazy as shit. So it's kind of really impressive that, one, she agreed to this. Two, she got her ass in the studio and recorded this. And then three, it came out. And she gave a quote. Massive. Anyway, this was during the Lust for Life era, and there's this great edit of her in the Lust for Life outfit, you know, the one with the daisies, and the Phantom of the Opera. It cracks me up every time. Anyway, Andy would say about the song, Lana Del Rey sings beautifully, with a haunting echo over the simple piano accompaniment. The singer and the song express a neediness, devotion, Calvary, and command all at once. A clever, seemingly effortless tick to Rice's syntax. And you know what? Okay, that's a lie. I would actually murder to see her sing Don't Cry, not Don't Cry, she'd probably be holding something like that. I would pay so much money to hear her sing a New Argentina. Would it be good? No. Would it be deeply entertaining to me? Yes. Guys, I'd pay so much money. I'd pay so much fucking money. However, Lana, okay, around this time, she seemingly got into musicals. Because a couple of months before that, she was saying her and Rick Knowles were writing a musical. About what? Her life. I'd go see that. No, my friend Nadia would go see it. She doesn't like musicals, but she loves Lana Del Rey, and so I'd get her at the theatre, and that's one of my life goals: get Nadia at the theatre to see something she enjoys. Um, and I don't want her to star in it. I don't think she should be on I would kill to see her Norma Desmond. That is my crackpot thing. I would kill to see her Norma Desmond, but you know, like she's done 2 covers from musicals, right? You Must Love Me and You'll Never Walk Alone from Carousel. And the Carousel one, oh, it's bad. Oh, it's bad. Lana, no. Lana, stay away from the golden age musicals. Stay away. And she does, because she knows her place. She knows, I'm not a performer. I can't act. So I'm not going to do musicals. Anyway. Let's talk about Jamie Lloyd now. So in 2019, Jamie Lloyd would do Evita at Open Air Regent's Park, with him first hearing about Evita from his dad's truck as a child. Jamie Lloyd's dad's truck is a fundamental part of musical theatre canon now, and we have to cheer and clap. However, him saying, listening to Evita grown up brought to mind vivid memories of sitting in the back of a passenger seat of his big HGV, driving around industrial estates, these bleak grey motorways up and down the country. It's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense having seen your production on Evita. At Open Air, it would be a sellout season, and well respected, with it set to run at the Barbican in the summer of 2020. However, this would not happen. No one knows why. No one can tell you why. It just never came to fruition. Pandemic obviously stopped this. However, the 2025 revival would happen. Would be like the current revival is an evolution. It's like an evolution of the 2019 revival, because if you look at photos, they're quite vibally similar. But there's like the costumes are different, the staging's a little bit different. Che doesn't sing with a microphone stand. You know, all those things. Andy would be like to Jamie Lloyd, can you please do Evita again? I love Evita. It's my favorite musical of myself that I've written. And all I have to say that is that man has taste. And you can tell what Andrew Lloyd Webber's favorite musicals of his are. Like it is Phantom and Evita. Those are his two favorite musicals that he's ever written. Um, yeah, he announced it earlier because he was so excited about the um So Jamie Lloyd would say about the production is completely different to the Prince production because it can't really be beaten. We are doing it from a completely different point of view. We've been dubbing it Ava Perón's Coachella set. There's so much complexity in it. It's almost like a series of tableaus in a way. You've got to embrace the fact that it's jagged and weird, and there are various musical styles. The journey from her humble beginnings to icon makes sense in contemporary audience terms of pop stars today. These iconic people in popular culture are making it to Coachella or Glastonbury set is an interesting way of harnessing the power of music. Sutra Gilmore, who is the designer, guys, Jamie Lloyd does not design his own shows. I feel like some people need to be reminded of this. Um, Saying we wanted a big pop fever dream with dance, although there's malice, where we dance even though the malice through the malice as though it's not a big deal. But in reality, it's a big deal. And there's a lot of malice. There are layers. The lights and the screen and the orchestra at the end. Ava Perón's big face blown up in the screen right in front of the big Evita letters. She's dying, and yet there's this big blind box that's saying her name, and still it's somehow all okay. It's a very shiny take on it all. Don't get me started on that final image. When me and Nell saw it, she heard me audibly gasp. I knew what was going to happen. I was like, anyway. Lloyd first actually spotted Zegler from performing on YouTube, saying she's an amazing vocalist. Hearing her singing the material, I get goosebumps. Rachel Zegler would say about Ava, to this day in Argentina, people revere her or they revile her. She has made such an impact. I think it's wonderful when pieces turn to the audience and ask them how they feel. And because there's been a lot of chat about the Evita ticket prices, and while I will say £300 is a lot of is a bit insane, 5,000 discounted tickets would be on sale. It would open this summer. The Telegraph will give it 5 stars. The result is a total triumph dominated by a powerhouse reputation restoring performance of Zegler 24. A stamina testing choreography by Fabian Alois, who deserves universal credit with Lloyd. Her talent demands our rapture. Equally, mass seduction of the audience feels carefully plotted, enhancing the show's thematic thrust. Lloyd enables the evening stokes of a cult of personality, combining whistle-stop biography with a parable for our age of showbiz politics. With this loud amplification and Sutra Gilmore's monumental set, the potentially treacherous light of the bleachers crowned in the big illuminated Evita sign. The show has a full oomph of rock gig and attains the fever of a political rally. Complete with fistfuls of confetti, it is a continual button pushing parable from the mournfully posturing of the opening funeral where the dry ice flows as thick as tear gas. Diego Andres Rodriguez, beautifully expressive Che, loosely Guevara, is a cynical onlooker drawn into Evita's story. Later we see him strip his underpants, which a very Jamie Lloyd touch. He is doused in blue and white colours, the colours of Argentinia's flag, in a pink like goo. We try to fathom Evita's every look and gesture. Her fixity and divinative drive of a steely desire to propel herself to the foe or inner resolve of the champion of the people. It helps to have a muddled up bit of historical chronology, but the piece is fundamentally a psychological riddle. Evita could be too cool for us to care about, yet the go for broke momentum reveals the redeemingly cracks of vulnerability. The demand to be adored eats Evita up before the cancer claims her. We get a glimpse of Dow as she sits alone at her dressing table and takes off her blonde wig. Then, when fake tears turn real, the poignant thing she sits slumped, cradled by a fickle Perone, and sings the night's climatic weepy, "You must love me." As indeed we must. This ranks as an all-time great revival. Viva Evita, Viva Zegla. The Standard would give it five stars, saying the 24-year-old packs an impossible amount of sly, iridescent star power into her tiny frame and provides us and proves to have both a stage presence and a passionate, expressive rubato. Amazingly, this is her second major musical theatre role after starring as Juliet on Broadway last year. Great theatre can be about many things. Star quality, spectacle, the lightning in a bottle capture of a moment, the alchemical power of song, or speech on a bare stage. In this Evita, that all those things come triumphantly together. It is time for you to read something. It is synopsis time.
Fueled by ambition and passion, Eva Perón rose from poverty to become the most powerful woman in Latin America. A symbol of hope to many Argentines, her star shone brightly as she was captured the nation's heart and divided its soul.
Where do we want to start with Evita? It is my favorite Andrew Lloyd Webber, and it has been for quite some time. I think it's because of the score. I'm going to be so real here. For about 2 years, every so often, I'd remember a new Argentina would exist, and then I'd have to listen to every version to try and decide which one was the best. And then I'd listen to like the Patti LuPone version because that's my favorite. That's legally out there. And then I could go on with my life, you know? That kind of thing. I just think, I mean, it's mental. It's fundamentally a mental piece of theatre. It doesn't really make much sense. It doesn't really care to be historically accurate. Like, that's a criticism I see leveled at Evita a lot. Like, it's not historically accurate. And I was like, okay, I don't think the piece of Evita is able to fully. I mean, it tries to get into the contradictions of Ava through the use of Perón and then the British. Like, it really tries. However, I don't think as a show it is. I think if Evita was too concerned with the historical accuracy of it, it would crumble under its own weight, you know? Like, it's. Yeah, it's a bit of a myth. But something else I was gonna say. Oh yeah, okay. The way I like my Evita to be performed, because I bashed Madonna's performance earlier, and I also bashed the orchestration. So I was like, I'm gonna explain it, and they go hand in hand. I would like my Evita to be performed bombastically. I should be deeply concerned for your voice after hearing you perform Evita. I have spent a lot of this summer showing my friends who know more about like voice and like the technicalities of it. This summer being like showing it to my friends and being like, how is she doing this? How is this working? And when I hear it sung live, there should almost be that moment of, oh God, is she gonna hit those? Is she gonna hit those? And then when she hits it, it's like, oh, this is so amazing. Oh my God. You know? Please tell me I'm not talking absolute rubbish here that's like incomprehensible for anyone else to talk about. But yeah, do you actually want to talk about another suitcase and another haul? Because I feel like I could go off of that a lot more than just me being like, and I love this, and I love this, and I love this.
I think I don't want to call it an issue because it's not an issue.
It's a feeling you have.
I don't think the song fits the rest of the show at all.
It doesn't, because the mistress literally appears, sings the song, and then leaves again.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love Bella Brown, and I love hearing her perform that song. However, I'm a bit like, can we get back to Ava? Like, um, but it was a massive hit, so I mean, there is like this preciousness around it, if that makes sense. Oh, you're reading what I've written down.
No.
Okay. Um, and what was really interesting in the movie, they had Madonna sing the song instead of the
Yeah.
mistress. And I'm like, that somehow feels like a weirder choice, guys. And now Andy puts it on his love song playlists.
I think it's just a thing of like he talks about it in his memoir
Mm.
that he's like it's funny he's writing fucking Jesus Christ Superstar. He's like, and Oliver had come out and they have As Long as He Needs Me.
Yeah.
And so we needed and as long as he needs me. And the second he says that in every single musical he's ever written, you realize that he just has one song, which is usually very out of place, which is just his version of As Long as He Needs Me from
Yeah.
Oliver, but for this musical. In Jesus Christ Superstar, it's I Don't Know How to Love Him.
Yeah.
In Evita, it's Another Suitcase in Another Hall. In like Phantom, it's probably either Wishing or Think of Me.
Yeah.
I reckon Think of Me more because it with Phantom, I feel like all of the songs make slightly more sense
hmm
because I think by that point he has figured out how to write a cohesive musical
Yeah.
as
Yes.
opposed to a concept album.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Because my thing is with Evita, yes, all of the songs work for the story that he is trying to tell with Evita, including Another Suitcase in Another Hall.
hmm
If it weren't for the fact that there is nothing in between them,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
that if there was a piece of dialogue, like actual real a scene
Yeah.
before Another Suitcase in Another Hall, and then a scene after it, it would probably make sense. But Evita is just a concept album with staging. Like
Yes.
that's not a bad thing. That's all it
No.
is.
I
It's
really
the
like.
same with Jesus Christ Superstar. It's the same with Joseph. They're just concept albums that have been staged, and that's fine. They work. Jesus Christ Superstar works really well because it's just a concert.
Yeah.
But with Evita, there's this one song which is like one of the most well-known songs in the show. Like aside from "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." If I said name two songs from Evita, you would say "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" and "Another Suitcase in Another Hall," and then you probably couldn't tell me any others.
No, like the average person on the street knows those two songs and they could not tell you the context of them either.
Yeah,
And that's fine.
and it's also you have a song earlier in the show about Evita Ava sleeping her way to the top, which is "Thank You and Goodbye,"
Great song.
and it's a
I love the
very
melodies.
like it's a fun song. Like that's what it is it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Like ultimately, it's being a bit catty towards Ava,
But what is
which is a
Che?
point I will come back to.
What is Che
Uh,
doing unless, especially in this production, and we are primarily going to be talking about this production because it's the one we're both most familiar with.
yeah,
Um, Che is very much there to antagonize Ava and really get under her skin.
yeah. I think also that is a point in like other productions because obviously whether he's Che, this weird character,
Every man,
or Che Guevara,
Cuban revolutionary.
he doesn't like the Perons.
hmm
So obviously he's there to be like whenever Ava presents herself as I'm Santa Evita, I'm their savior. I
I'm
love
their
Argentina and
savior.
Argentina loves me. He's like, hold on, guys. Hold on. What if
What
she
if,
wasn't?
what if she were a whore?
What if she was a slut?
And we're all gonna run around in a circle and scream, whore, slut.
Yeah. Um, but that's kind of a staple in all productions. um,
Yeah, there is a certain extent of slut shaming of Ava. Like I think the way the Lloyd production does it is definitely the most sympathetic towards her
yeah.
and gives
Which
her the
we'll
most
say.
agency.
But like this, you have this song, Thank You and Goodbye, which is very like fun. And it's like, yeah, she slept to her way to the top, sure. But like,
It's not what she wanted.
she got what she wanted. It's not that bad. Like, these guys will be fine. Like they're sad because they've lost their beautiful girlfriend, Ava Peron.
Yeah.
Not Ava Peron at that time.
Ava Duarte.
Ava Duarte. But they'll be fine. They're sad for a bit, they'll be fine. They get up, they move on, and then a new guy comes, they get up, they move on, etc., etc. But like 20 minutes later, you have this devastating song where this girl is like, "Oh my
Less
god."
than that. It's literally 3 songs later. It's like Perone, like it's like that song, The Other Possible, which you understood more than I did.
I actually really liked it.
You
I thought it was a
loved The Art of the
really good
Possible.
song.
You thought that was sick.
It's a really good song.
Is The Art of the Possible, and then
I Could Be Surprisingly
Good for you, and then it's Another Suitcase in Another Hall. So it's like
But
two songs.
there's these weird like little instrumental bits in all of those songs where they're like moving around a little bit. So it is like 15, 20 minutes
Okay,
later.
it feels, especially The Art of the Possible. I'm sat down. I'm like, Rice, we couldn't have written one less verse.
But it's great. It's a great song. It's a really good song. Yeah, but literally a couple minutes later, you have this devastating song that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
The only time it is used is Ava sings a verse from it at the end.
Yeah.
When she's dying. She's like, so what happens now? So what happens now? And that's it.
But I do love that. That callback makes me cry.
And I get that in that sense, it works.
It's musical
Because
manipulation.
she is, yeah, that she has stepped on all of these people to get to the top or whatever, and then ultimately she still dies very young.
She's no better than the
With no
person
one.
she threw out herself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's all she is to Perone, like a body, basically, when it comes down to it. And when I saw it the first time, when like before they started singing, so what happens now? People like the second the music started, they're like, oh god, I know what's about to happen because of what happened in the first act, and they went, ah, they were all like, oh no, don't leave her.
But in my head, if that's your intent with this, because it's not the rest of the song that's used, it's that line, so what happens now?
Mm.
That's a very vague line.
Yeah, because then Perone's response isn't another suitcase in another hole. Che's dead, effectively, in this production.
Che's gooped on the floor.
Che's been gooped up, and he responds, "Don't ask anymore."
Which is the last line in another suitcase in another hole.
Yeah.
My thought is, why don't you just have, like, I know you've got Don't Cry for Me Argentina as the big one, but why don't you have So What Happens Now as a, like, recurring motif?
Yeah.
Like, when they are throwing out the elite, why don't the elite say, so what happens now to us? When she's leaving behind all of her lovers, sleeping her way to the top, why don't they ask, so what happens now to us?
Because,
like, all of this stuff, as she's moving up and she's stepping on all of these people and leaving them behind, why aren't they asking, so what happens now? So then it's like, when she's finally being left behind, it makes sense why she's asking, so what happens now? Rather than one character or one song in a fuck-ass blue wig.
Jamie Lloyd, you will die for that blue wig.
With a fuck-ass bob.
Fuck-ass bob and a
Bella Brown in a fuck-ass blue bob had her sing Another Suitcase in Another Hall, a song which doesn't make sense, and then they kicked her off the stage.
Bella Brown, we love you. She's in the ensemble, though.
I love you, Bella Brown, so much.
Bella Brown,
I really want to go and see you as Ava, but I cannot afford it.
Bella Brown, we have been on your hype train since Lasha.
Trust.
Everyone's been joining us.
We started it.
Bella
Brown number ones. Day ones.
Day ones. That's us. When Tom Francis updates was like, I'm going to get into Bella Brown, I was like, welcome. Welcome to the club.
But that's my thing. Is I think that conceptually, what Another Suitcase in Another Hall is doing makes sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make enough sense.
No. And it's like, Jamie Lloyd, please, I wish it weren't such a big hit so he could cut it or shorten it.
Yeah.
He could, like,
because it's also the thing of, like, you saying, oh, can you tell You Must Love Me was added later?
Yeah.
Yes, kind of. But it's one of those things where I feel like You Must Love Me is a response to a gap.
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's then being like, oh, we haven't, like, addressed this, or there's, like, a weird gap here. I feel like we could add a song and it would make sense. Or if we're cutting The Lady's Got Potential, we have room for another song. Why don't we add one?
In a way, You Must Love Me is almost like, it is, because it's before the broadcast, and it's the first time we see the veneer really crack.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And it also does kind of end the arc of her and Perone's relationship.
Yeah. But the thing with Another Suitcase in Another Hall is that they have obviously written it because they're like, we need As Long As He Needs Me for Evita.
Yeah.
So we've written it and then they've gone, oh, what if at the end she sings a line from it so it comes full circle? And everyone's like, yeah, fuck, that really works, that's great.
And it's not like oh, what a circus. It's just Don't Cry For Me Argentina. Like, Don't Cry For Me Argentina is all over that fucking score, and I don't mind it because I think it's my own. But so is Good Night and Thank You. I mean, it's reprised when Perone and Ava meet. It is reprised again for the waltz. It makes sense in all of those places, ties it together very nicely.
And that's the thing, is like as weird as Evita is as a musical, everything makes sense in
It
it.
is
Like
a
from a from this perspective, everything makes sense. It's a weird show.
fucking
It's got
show.
weird music, it's got weird songs, but they
Is it
make sense
is it a
cohesively.
perfect show? No, but I
No.
love it because of how weird it is. When I say I want Andy to get weird, this is what I mean.
Yeah, like even as a concept album that's been staged, cohesively it makes sense. Except for Another Suitcase in Another Hall, which is just this one song that does not fit.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, I still love the song, and my issues with it aren't enough for me to be like, I hate the show and I hate this song. It's still fine, it still works.
Because it's like when you're viewing it, it's also not like
It was basically I watched it and I thought, God, what a beautiful song. That's so great.
this is
What
weird.
the fuck? Wait, hold on.
Oh
I
no.
that.
Where's Ava gone?
I do like her little bit at the beginning.
I've just unemployed you.
No, her. I like your
And she
conversation.
doesn't say anything.
You've a witty turn of phrase.
Um, has, can do you want to talk about what was your other big thing with it?
And many big things.
Okay, do you okay? I think we might have a bit of a differing opinion on this. Do you is Evita? I think Evita's making two comments. It's making one about politics a little bit because it's Evita and kind of has
Yeah.
to, but I think it ultimately Jamie Lloyd's production of Evita is more commenting on the way we treat famous people,
In particular, women.
in particular
Yes.
women. And I think that that is Evita is the right musical to do that with.
Yeah.
Um, and one question I had going into Evita, and I think I've talked about it on here before, is Jamie Lloyd going to use the casting of Rachel Zegler to his advantage to tell a point, to make a point in some way?
And the answer is yes.
Yes. In my opinion, it's during Peron's latest flame when they're all
Great
running
song.
around calling her a whore and saying all
Yeah.
these things about her, and she kind of has to sit. There's a couple of moments in Evita where everyone's making comments about Ava and she can't really get her side of the narrative out through the mic because Che's in control of the mic and not letting her speak.
This is a great segue into me talking about why I should be cast as Che. Which isn't just me saying I want to play Che. I have an actual point to it.
Yeah. Now, let's put some thought into it. Don't you guys worry.
I put some thought into my argument here.
But I think the use of the mic of who gets to tell this story, who gets to control this narrative about this beloved and reviled woman,
Yeah.
and Evita is kind of like everyone else around her. Ava kind of. She has her moments,
Can I say
but
my point about Che?
not really. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Disclaimer. I do think the casting is really good. I think the points have been made, points have been said about finally having three Latin American people playing the three Latin American leads.
Massive.
Massive, great.
Unfortunate that it took
However,
this long for it to be this massive.
yeah, crazy.
Also, I am campaigning for Diego to get Olivier nomination. I think if Rachel's gonna get one, he should get one alongside her because they work as a pair in a lot of ways in that show.
Yes. However, that being said about the casting, and as great as they all are, and they are truly great, I think just based on the narrative Jamie Lloyd is spinning for Evita,
Yeah.
like the way he's twisting the story to do a message,
Yeah.
I think it would be very, very, very interesting to see a white woman, me, play Chase.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, you might be saying, but now it's Che Guevara, Cuban revolutionary. How would a white woman play Che Guevara, Cuban revolutionary? He is never called Che Guevara, the Cuban revolutionary.
In this production.
In any production.
No, in any production. Thankfully, they left it. Rice, Hal Prince was like,
Once
you guys
they
need
cut
to
the
make it more
pesticide
ambiguous.
song.
Yeah, once they got rid of the pesticide.
And if we can get rid of the pesticide song, why is another suitcase and another horse still in there?
Yeah.
But once they cut the pesticide song, there is no link to Che Guevara. In fact, the only time you ever hear Che's name, no one ever calls him by his name because he's not a real like character in the story.
No, he's outside of the action commenting on it.
He's a narrator. The only time he says his name is in What a Circus when he says, "And who am I but Che the Fool?" And that's it. And you barely hear him say it.
You barely hear him say it because there's so much else going on, and you're going, "This is amazing!"
So much else is going on in the show, and he's
my
just
nervous system is shot.
He's like, "I'm Che Guevara, by the way."
Like, actually, quickly, I'm Che. I'm a
My
fool.
credentials.
My credentials. I'm Che Guevara.
I'm Che the Fool.
But there's so much else going on, and my adrenaline is often going so hard by that. I'm going, musical theatre rules, baby.
Yeah. But you barely hear him introduce himself as Che.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing he introduces him as, Che the Fool.
Yeah.
Therefore, could be played by anyone. Diversity. I feel like kind of the maybe happy ending dies there. Che could be played by anyone, most notably a white woman.
A white woman. Nell's not advocating. She's not calling Diego's role in any way. She's just like,
no.
This would be an interesting interpretation.
It's basically my point is you could stage it or cast it like this, and I think it would make the point clearer.
Yeah.
Because then what you would be seeing on stage, and I think, what this ties in really nicely to is cast your minds back to that. We've been recording for like 3 hours, maybe 2. So cast your mind to about an hour and a half.
We weren't meant to talk so much before, but TS12.
But then we did. Cast your minds back to about an hour and a half ago when Esmé was talking about what Evita is based on.
Yeah.
Which is one biography.
And one it's made for TV, guys.
Made for TV. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that biography was by an English-born woman.
Yes.
Who is an Argentine elite.
Yeah, and I mean, she kind of is in Evita spiritually, as much as Che Guevara is in Evita. The author of that biography is in Evita.
But the idea that because Peronism gets outlawed, this one biography by a white woman with a weird kind of personal vendetta against Evita is the only narrative.
Yeah.
It is very interesting. And the kind of things that this woman is therefore able to get away with saying. And later when you get more information, she's like, well, I'm sorry you felt like that about my interpretation of a real life story. And I guess I feel compassion, but also Evita was really mean to me because she took away my money.
She made my life a bit harder. She made it hard for me to be a British woman in Argentina and exploit the poor.
Where could I turn to? England?
My ancestral
voting in the Labour government.
Guys, I gotta go to America.
But then what you are seeing is this white woman constantly slut-shaming a Latin American woman.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for here? I want to say diminishing, but I don't think that's... reducing her success to being she slept her way to the top.
Her importance.
I think her success, because it's Evita was Ava. I keep calling her Evita, that's just her name to me. Yeah. Her name's Evita to me. Ava.
You have a point to make about the Jamie Lloyd production of when is she Ava and when is she Evita.
Yeah.
In big, bold capital letters.
Yeah. E-V-I-T-A.
Love Rainbow Tour, guys!
We love Rainbow Tour so much.
Me and Nell kept playing it when I went to go visit her poor house.
Yeah, we saw Evita and then we came back and we just played Rainbow Tour out loud for hours.
Hours. Her poor housemates must have been like, what the fuck is she doing up there?
What the fuck? Why are you talking about an Argentinian's First Lady's European tour?
From the 1940s?
What's going on?
What is going on up there?
Anyways, Che. Because Ava was a performer.
Hmm.
Like, that is how she managed to get to Buenos Aires.
Hmm.
She, like, performed her way there.
Yeah, she was dropped off on a train, but yeah. That's how
Just,
she
like,
made it.
objectively,
Yeah,
that's how she made
that's
it.
that's how she made it in Argentina.
And you can have your own opinions and thoughts on whether she did, like, sleep her way to the top or sleep her way to success. And maybe she did, maybe she didn't. Whatever.
There are credible stories of her sleeping with people, but there are also stories of many chorus girls having to do that because it was the 1940s Argentina.
Yeah. But in Evita, we
Yeah.
don't really hear anything about her success as a performer. In fact, she's so successful as a performer that she gets invited to a charity benefit, which is where she meets Peron.
Yes.
That's never explained. She's like, by the way, so there was this really important charity benefit with a ton of political figures and also some really famous celebrities, and Ava was there because she was a really famous celebrity.
And
But
McGowdy's
ignore that.
also there, and they're gonna have a little fight.
Like, that's the thing, is we have evidence that she was successful and she was talented in her own right.
Yeah.
And she had her own dreams of being successful, which is why she inevitably, like, eventually, I mean, goes to Peron and is like, I could be surprisingly good for you. Like, I think we could work well together.
Yeah.
But none of that is ever addressed by our narrator, Che.
No.
She's just like, and then she slept with another man, and then she slept with another man,
and
then she slept with another man.
Then she slept with a man, and now she's on the talk radio, and then she slept with a man, and now she's in the magazines, and then she slept with a man, and now she's meeting Peron.
Yeah, like, and nothing else happened in between.
She didn't work or anything. She just slept with men, and then like these things came out with her name on them. I don't understand it. I'm Che Guevara.
Yeah, I'm Che Guevara. And then you have Che framing another suitcase in another hall because he's the one who it's not sung to him, but he's the one responding to it.
It's like a call and response, almost like "Where am I going?" and he's responding with "Don't ask."
Yeah. And I think that those responses are kind of what makes it a very sad song.
Yeah.
Because without it, yes, it is sad.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a monologue.
Yeah.
It's her being like, yeah, I'm sad. But she, like, the whole thing throughout the song that the mistress is saying is, yes, this is really sad, but it's happened to me before. I kind of knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'll be fine eventually. That doesn't mean it's not sad right now. It's the fact that there is someone also there responding to her, going like, God, yeah, this sucks so bad. How awful for you. How terrible is this?
Oh, horrific.
But what a bitch to put you through this. You poor young girl. You schoolgirl. Let's not talk about how old Ava is. We've said she's young, but let's not talk about how old Ava is. This poor schoolgirl.
Ava, we may have condemned Ava for being a 15-year-old sleeping with McGowdy, who in real life would have been about in his 30s. But, you know,
But this poor schoolgirl has been kicked out.
They're constantly like, Peron likes young women. Anyway.
It's like, there is a trend in who Peron is dating. Ava.
And Ava's the root cause of this. This young girl.
Like, I think, like,
we're also
if you imagine it as, like, a white woman trying to spin this narrative, I think the point that Jamie Lloyd is trying to make becomes a lot clearer.
Yeah, but I like to think about Evita, so I'm fine doing my own work. But I get
but also, like, constantly snatching the mic off her, them fighting over the mic. And the second that Kay dies, you know, gets gooped.
He gets got.
He gets got. Ava, like, does not talk anymore.
No. Or if she does,
the mic is gone. There is no one to frame her story.
He literally has to, like, give her the mic because no one else will.
Yeah.
He is the only one left, the last broadcast, who gives a shit. And it's not out of loyalty. It's because he has to.
It's not even that. It feels, like, mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, look at how far you have fallen. Get a close-up of this girl's face. And I'm going to force her to talk by holding a mic to her. She is crying. She is about to die.
And
She's
she knows
accomplished
it.
so much and yet so little as an actual real human being. She's been made a figure.
Yes, she became a
Talk.
saint.
Say something to your
She became
people.
a saint at 28. What else is she supposed to do than die tragically young?
Yeah.
And
Like,
that's
it's
the kind of shit
mean.
I love.
Like, the final broadcast is mean
It's
to do to someone.
devastating. It's
Like, both from Theron and from Che, it is a mean thing to put Ava through in the musical.
yeah.
And I think, like, in part, yes, me saying this should be played by a white woman is me being like, cost me, I should play Che.
Let me play Jay.
But also, I just think it's an interesting way to frame what Jamie Lloyd is saying,
Yeah.
which is that women in politics, particularly non-white women in politics, or
Mhm.
more generally non-privileged women in politics,
Yeah.
can't tell their own stories.
No.
Like, yes, very much someone like Margaret Thatcher can release their own biography and say, yes, I know I did some bad things, but here is my reasoning. Here's what I personally was going through, and here's why I did it. And let me justify everything. And people will eat that shit up and say, well, I guess we were too harsh on Margaret Thatcher.
Mhm.
And someone like Ava Peron is never going to get that.
No, I mean, Evita has been so, like, as a musical, has really shaped her legacy around the world. She wasn't really that known for so many reasons outside of Latin America.
Yeah.
And so, like, Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice have kind of written the legacy of this woman they never met.
Yeah. And like, especially this kind of personal and political, like, spheres.
Mm.
Like, this idea of her as a mother should be something personal, but it never happens in her personal life, so therefore it has to become political.
Well, it never happens in her personal life because she dies of uterine cancer, which is just like a cruel death for the mother of the nation to have.
But like, that's the thing, she never has her own personal children.
No.
Like, is it From the Great? I feel like it's stupid if it's From the Great. There's like a boy would be like France's, but you shall be mine.
Oh no,
I want to say it's From the Great, but it's not
no,
at
it's
all.
from Marie Antoinette by
Yeah,
Sofia Coppola. Yeah, a
yeah,
boy, Marie Therese, would be the son of France, but you are mine. That's the quote, I think.
yeah. But like, I feel like it's similar to that, where if she had had a child in her personal life, like
Mhm.
with Peron, with, you know, many other men she was sleeping with,
As we're told multiple times.
as we're told, then that would have been her child.
Yeah.
But because she never did, her child becomes Argentina.
Valentina.
So
Yeah.
therefore she has a duty to provide for them.
A duty that she's not really able to fulfill because the men won't let her.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a say.
Like, I think it's just this thing of we have no fucking clue who Ava is in the
It's
musical.
so like
Like,
yeah.
throughout this whole story, at no point does she have like her own personal life.
Yeah.
Where she's like, by the way, guys, my name's Ava. Here's my life story. Draw my
My
life.
life, draw my life. My life
Um,
has actually been really hard because I was an illegitimate child to a poor mother. He died. I became something through hard work, grit, determination. And yeah, I did some things I'm not proud of, but I had to do it to survive. We never get that moment.
yeah. And I think that's the thing. Like, I keep fucking coming back to this. Another suitcase in another hall.
Yeah,
The mistress doesn't have a handheld mic. She has a regular stage mic.
yeah.
She's just singing. She's telling her story. Anytime Evita is saying something, she like like when she does that bit in, I don't remember what song it is. It's very early on. When
Mm.
someone talks about like the elites in Argentina and she gets very angry. She's like, I hate these
Yeah, no,
guys.
that is the only part. She goes, screw the middle classes. I will never accept them. My father's other family were middle class, and he kept us out of sight, out of view, and that's
No,
it.
she has a handheld mic for that.
I know. I think it might just be her normal mic because it's her and McGowdy.
She has a handheld mic a lot
Oh,
of the time. I
well, 'cause
think she might have one.
she has her white mic for a little bit of Act Two for Rainbow Tour, for no, for Rainbow High.
Yeah. But my point with that is that that is a performance mic.
Oh yeah,
Like anytime they are using their regular mics, it's just them
talking.
like talking. It is their characters being themselves. When Peron is giving a speech, he has a handheld mic. When
Yeah.
he is just talking to Ava, he's talking normally. When he's talking to anyone else, he's just talking normally. Tay isn't a real person, so he just has a handheld mic because he is telling us a story. He is performing for us.
Yeah.
Ava is not given a mic. At times, she is lended one
She has to fight
by
for
Che.
it.
When she gets it in Rainbow Flight, we're not sure if it is hers because it matches her outfit, but it's an outfit she's being dressed in.
Yeah, yeah, I have a quote about why she's dressed like that. Why
But
she's
it's like the thing of
her
the
like
whole song is about her presenting herself for a tour. Like,
yeah,
how is
also
she going to attract people
through
to
her
herself and
outfit.
to Argentina? Like, how
Through
is she
her
going to give off a
outfits.
message through
Because
how she looks?
yeah,
And
because
she
there's that
has a mic that matches that we
yeah,
then don't see again.
because there's that line so Lauren Bacall me, Christian Dior me.
Yeah.
Anything goes. So Sushi Gilmore would say about specifically costuming Ava. With Ava, there's something that needs to be raw about her image on the stage. It needs to have a feeling of fragility. As somebody who was able to live their life in public the way most of us can't, it is a graciously, ugh, that is not just graciously having her in not many clothes. It's about able to touch. It's about being able to touch a sensation like that. This person is quite vulnerable, open, exposed, available.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, like, not to bring this back to I should play Che,
Hmm.
but having like Ava in basically underwear for the whole show.
Yeah,
And then by the end of it, Che is forced to strip down to that too.
because he's provoking her. It's like, I'm gonna join
Yeah.
you.
Like I think that there is a lot, and you know what this ties quite nicely to?
What?
Evita should win best costuming. Is it the most
Evita needs
costuming?
best costume.
Absolutely not. Is it best
No.
costuming? Yes.
I would be for a stereophonic one costuming, but like Evita's my pick.
I think like the Evita costuming really means something.
It won't win. It won't be.
It won't win at all, but there is a message behind its costuming. I also think what I thought was really fun
Mm,
was I don't know how like real it is,
mm.
or if it's just like I didn't notice it and then I did, and then I was like, hey, this is what it means. But basically, after Ava uh like joins Peron,
Yeah.
that's when you start seeing all of the other women on stage wearing the like same black outfit as her.
Do they wear
Or
it during the art of of the possible? Or are they wearing something different?
I thought they were wearing the military outfits during the Art of Possible.
What, the women?
I think so. They're like white jackets.
I think they're in black.
Give me a second. I bet I have the picture. No, I might have packed away my folder.
Eva Peron.
Hold on, hold on.
Do I?
Evita, Rachel.
I think there is a difference in their outfits, like a slight one. Ava and Evita in this current production, and it's when the screen comes in, and it's also it's to do with the dress. It's to do with the ball gown and the wig and the jewels. And I want to talk about the Don't Cry for Me Argentina because I think say what you will about Jamie Lloyd and his use of screen and his use of gimmicks, it really works for Evita. And every time for Don't Cry for Me Argentina, every time every time Evita is on the first time Evita is on that screen, dressed up, wig on, it does kind of take my breath away
Yeah.
because it is such a stark contrast to what we've seen before. And I love Eno Argentina. I think it's one of the best things ever. I'm literally shaking at the thought of hearing it again tomorrow. I'm live, love, loving. That's the only thing getting me through. Um, However, I remember being sad at the first preview because I said I'd do a vlog, but then the vlog footage was just me being like, "That was really good. I don't really know what to think about it. What? Well, I'm a bit confused." Um, I've not put it out, but I might for closing or something like that. In the interval, I remember videoing myself because no one was around, so I was like, "This is okay for me to do, not too cringe." And I was like, I don't know where you go from here because there's the streamers, there's the confetti. Che is beaten up by the police for being a political dissident, basically. Where the fuck do you go from here? You know? In a lot
Yeah.
of ways, that is the energy that a musical finale could only wish for.
Yeah.
And I knew Argentina is one of the greatest Act One closers of all time. I've always said that. Andy, I love you. And thank you, Jamie Lloyd, for telling Andrew Lloyd Webber that he needed to find his electric guitar and to bring it the fuck out for Evita. Because that's the way
Yeah.
I like my Evita. Loud and with an electric guitar and a sick ass drum beat. Anywho. And so Don't Cry for Me Argentina is almost like this reset, but it's breathtaking. I genuinely don't know how else to describe it other than breathtaking.
Mm.
Um, and especially when she steps out onto the balcony and you can see the Pret,
Yeah, that's a good moment.
but you can also see all of those people and I mean, they didn't know how much of a thing it would become to go to the balcony. But it really works with the amount of people who are there. And there is a collective moment of in the audience when they see that.
Yeah.
And so it really hammers home the point. And one detail that I really love is when she turns to when she turns back to Perone and Che's watching the crowds. Che's aware of the crowds. He's taking it in. Perone is stood with his back to it, ignorant to it.
Yeah.
And then when she turns to the crowd and goes, "Just listen to that. They love me, basically.
Yeah.
We fooled them." It's like you can only see half the screen and you can't see the crowd anymore because it's an Ava thought instead of an Evita thought, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And my favorite moment is when you can hear the crowd cheering because it's not fully. And I pointed out to you, I was like, that's outside. That's not here. And I love it. Jamie Lloyd, all the awards, Nobel Peace Prize for that. And I really like the point he's making.
I think it's just a very good like version.
Yeah. And as I've said many times this episode, it's a weird show, and so I enjoy it when you treat it like a weird show, when you don't treat
Yeah.
it like a museum piece, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. Do you have
So
something to say
yeah,
about the art of the possible?
do I have something about it?
I have something to say about it because I was a bit like, oh,
Not really. I just really like it.
yeah.
So, I just really like the song. I think it's very fun. I can
Yeah.
get out the lyrics and tell you the ones I like.
Um, when I saw it with my parents, the moment my dad was like, "Jesus, this is really weird," was when the military people came out shirtless,
Yeah,
and
I wasn't watching that bit.
they started doing press ups, and then they started running around with Che Guevara and calling her Evita a slut. He was like, "This is very weird."
I think we haven't actually talked about one of the best lines in the show, which we quote all the time.
Oh, is it? And who would wanna pull the rug out of these people?
No, it's the notably the military.
Military.
It's like what's the full one? Some say the military will soon be our constitution.
Notably,
Military will soon be our The military will soon be our constitution, say some, notably the military.
it's great.
That's what I should have said when he was My work.
Big fan of
Notably
the line.
military.
Big fan of the line delivery, Diego.
Big fan of how you deliver it. It's really good. That was the first time of the show. I don't know if you heard this. I like actually laughed out loud.
I'm super he's going
It was that funny. It was that funny to me.
It's so fucking dumb.
I think that's the thing, is it actually does a shockingly good job of like, is it historically accurate? No, not at all. Does it do a good job of portraying politics?
Yeah.
Yes. Like just general politics, like how politics works? Yes.
Yeah.
Shockingly. I think maybe that's what I like about the art of
Yeah, the
possible.
possible. Yeah.
The act if you listen to it,
Boring.
like and you hear what they're saying a whole bunch of nothing.
But that's kind of what politics
But they sound so sure of themselves that you're like, hell yeah.
And they're taking it so seriously.
What are their lyrics? They're like one rarely acts the same way twice. What are they? One has no rules, is not precise. One rarely acts the same way twice. One turns no device, practicing the art of the possible. One always picks the easy fight. One praises fools, one smothers light. One shifts left to right. It's part of the art of the possible. It's like just saying kind of nothing.
Yeah.
But it sounds very political.
Yeah.
It's the same. I love when, like, every single time they were about to succeed politically, and then Perron was like, what if we didn't? What if we just bought a little house with a pool?
And Ava's like, I don't want to do that. And don't make me do that.
It's like, shut the fuck up, idiot.
I came to be a part of Buenos Aires, Big Apple.
I came to be a part of BA Buenos
And also,
Aires.
we are obsessed with Rainbow Tour. And when I first saw Evita and I went to now Rainbow Tour fucking goes hard. She was like, Esmé's lost the plot.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Rainbow
No,
Tour?
she was right. She was
I was
right.
onto something! The new orchestration, that new little bit where they go E-V-I-T-A.
I-T-A.
I-T-A. A. Oh. So fun. And Jamie Lloyd, you deserve all the Oliviers. My thing with the Evita and like this production of Evita in specifically is you can think it's weird, but when it's done well, and as I think Evita also has to be done fearlessly a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. As I said, I like my Evita to be scrouted to the point where I'm concerned about your voice. And I'm concerned about you hitting the next note, because when you do hit those notes, it is so thrilling. I mean, I think like it should make my toes curl a bit. I should be like, oh god, what's happening? Oh my god, they did it! Oh, outstanding! This is outstanding. I'm having such a great time. Rainbow Tour, no Rainbow High, that big note that's gone viral everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway. Are we ready for last thoughts?
I really like Evita.
I love
Specifically,
Jamie Lloyd.
the Jamie Lloyd production of Evita.
Yeah. It's been a fun Evita summer. That's what it's been. And I'm very happy to have experienced it. And I will be campaigning for it for most of the major awards at the Oliviers. I think it has a case to be made in basically every category.
Especially best costumes.
Especially best costumes. That's our new lighting design for Tammy Faye. If Rachel Zegler does not get even a nomination, there will be riots in the streets, led by me. What else? Orchestrations, guys. I don't care. I don't care if it's passé to give Andy another Olivier. He needs one for those orchestrations because he's gonna get one even though he didn't. Right? Didn't do them. Fuck it. Best set.
Yeah, why not?
It's great. I have a great time. And I do, because throughout history, Che's been moved between featured and leading. I believe he's leading, especially in this production. And you know what? In a post Jamie Moscato getting in for leading for Anatole world, he's definitely leading.
Yeah.
And I could even see the cave, and I wouldn't be annoyed if James Oliver got him. I'd be cheering, actually. It is raining now. Crap, it's washing it.
Damn.
Anyway, next week, because it's my birthday the week this comes out, guys. I turn 21. And I'm gonna spend it in one of my favorite places on earth, the Lyric Theatre, watching Hadestown with Now.
Spent an obscene amount of money on it.
You did offer.
I did,
I didn't hold you
unfortunately.
at gunpoint to do this. Also, we love Hadestown,
Yeah.
and we'll have a good time. Next week, we are doing The Light in the Piazza, and I'm so excited because I also love The Light in the Piazza, and I promise I might cry on mic. The likelihood of me crying on mic while I talk about how much I love certain lyrics in The Light in the Piazza. Hi. Hi. Yeah. I actually can't talk about it anymore because I might actually start crying. Anyway, girls, learn your gatto. Very annoyed that more of you didn't embrace gatto when Jeremy Jordan went into Gatsby. I'm annoyed by that. Anywho, follow us on TikTok.
Gatsby?
Oh, my brain's so fried right now. Went into Floyd Collins. When he did Floyd Collins, I'm more annoyed that you Gatsby girls didn't get into Ghetto. There's so many G's right now. My brain is overwhelmed.
I had to explain the concept of the Floyd Collins musical to my sister because we were talking about spelunking.
What's the blanket?
Do you know the Nutty Putty Cave incident?
No.
Okay, spelunking is like caving, but it's specifically when you go into really tight spaces.
Oh, so like Floyd Collins. I get it now.
Yeah, the Nutty Putty Cave incident is this guy who on like Thanksgiving went
Mm.
spelunking and he got stuck upside down. And then he died there like 24 hours later, and they sealed up the cave and his body is still inside.
Oh.
Yeah. It's actually really sad. He had like a 2-year-old son, and
Oh.
he went in there with his brother, and then
Oh.
his brother like was the one who had to leave him there and like try and get help. And
Oh.
they were trying to rescue him for like 24 hours, and then he died. And they still couldn't get him out when he was dead.
Oh. That's really
Yeah.
upsetting. That's such a
And it
fun
happened in a
name.
place called the Nutty Putty Cave.
Such a fun name. So depressing.
I know. Anyways, I was talking about that with my sister. And then we started talking about I was like, oh, like Floyd Collins.
Like, yeah, the man who gets stuck in a cave and it turns into a media
And
circus.
she's like, who? I was like, played by Jeremy Jordan?
And like Floyd Collins is a real story.
Yeah. About a man who splunked.
Yeah. Too close to the sun.
He splunked too close. This started because I wrote a line to her, which was, there's only one man nutty putty enough for this. Spelunk me, boys. About she dropped her phone down the side of the bed.
Okay.
And she was like, she was on call with me
Yeah.
on her iPad, and she dropped her phone. And I was like, all right, lower me down. I'll see where it is. Splunk me.
Spelunk. Anywho.
Splunk. And she said, it's spelunk.
I didn't know
With
that
an
was
E.
today.
Well, I've just taught you all the words spelunk.
Yeah.
We've
Now
got to
I know.
we've got to bring the verb spelunk into our everyday
Everyday
use.
lexicon.
If you're going into a tight space anytime soon, let
Spelunk.
everyone know you're spelunking.
They'll know what you mean.
They'll know.
Anywho, we'll see you next week for The Light in the Piazza. Bye-bye.
Bye.